Today we're going to show you how to assemble our 3,500 pound pontoon lift vertical cable model. Before getting started, make sure you have all the required tools listed in the assembly manual. Using a utility knife, cut the straps to release the lift components. Make sure you have enough space to work and set you up on a flat surface. You can place the parts roughly where they will be assembled. Start by removing the nuts, bolts, and washer from both corners on one side of the lift. Then insert the aluminum tubes, making sure the holes are properly aligned. Tighten the bolts firmly using your impact driver and wrench. On the other side, remove the nuts and bolts from the remaining two corners before inserting the tubes. This will help you align everything properly. Once the tubes are in place, insert the bolts into the holes and tighten them firmly, just like on the other side. To ensure your base is perfectly square, with the help of another person, measure the distance between the corners, front to back, side to side, so they are equal. If not, adjust the structure until you achieve a perfect square. That's it, your lift base is now assembled and squared. Feel free to refer back to the assembly manual from time to time to follow each step correctly. At each corner of the lift, where the base meets the vertical post, remove the bolts holding the stabilizers. Extend the stabilizer, insert the bolts into the appropriated holes, then tighten everything securely using your impact driver and wrench. Repeat these steps at each corner, making sure both the bottom and top of each stabilizers are firmly tightened. You can now bring over the components that will form the lift bed. Lay the parts roughly where they will be assembled. Make sure the black pulleys on the beams are positioned inside the structure and place the corner with the winch cable on the side of the tallest vertical post. This is the winch post. Using your impact driver and wrench, remove the bolts and nut at each end of the beams where the U-shaped brackets are located. Remove the plastic wrap around the cable to free them and give yourself more working room. Install the side aluminum tubes of the bed into the U-shaped brackets. Once aligned, reinstall the bolts and nuts and tighten everything securely. Slide the cable through the aluminum tube to hook the rings at the bottom of the lift structure. Holes are provided to insert those rings and secure them to the structure. Repeat these steps for the remaining corners. You can then repeat the same steps on the other side of the lift. Tighten all bolts and nuts firmly. We are now at the steps where the cables are secure at the top of the structure. Using a ladder, extend the cable to reach the top of the lift. Remove the nuts from the threaded rod so it can pass through the aluminum structure. Insert the threaded rod at the end of the cable into the holes in the top tube of the structure. Reinstall the washer, the first nut, then the lock washer, followed by the second nut. Some adjustment will be required later, but not at this stage. Repeat this operation for the other three corners of the lift. One corner will have two cables passing through the extrusion. We are now ready to install the winch. Since it is heavy, this step should ideally be done by two people. Remove the nuts and bolts that will be used to mount the winch. Position the winch correctly, then reinstall the bolts and nut to secure it firmly. Tighten securely. To insert the cable into the winch, lock the winch in place using locking pliers. This will prevent movement and allows you to properly tighten the cable. Insert the bolt, the curved retaining piece, and the nut into the winch drum, which will serve as the cable locking system. Feed the cable through the hole in the drum and secure it into the locking system. Tighten firmly, ensuring the cable is properly positioned and secured. Now let's move on to the lift wheel. Press firmly at the center of the wheel to thread it into the winch shaft. Turn until you hear 3 clicks. Since the winch is still locked with the pliers, it will not rotate. After the 3 clicks, secure the wheel using the bolt, washer, spacer, and spring. Tighten everything at the center of the wheel. Do not fully tighten the nuts, just enough. Then remove the pliers and wind the cable into the winch, making sure it is properly aligned. Raise the lift bed approximately 2 feet to help complete the assembly. Using a measuring tape, check that the distance is equal at all 4 corners. This is when you can adjust the cable. If they are too loose, slightly tighten the nuts at the top of the structure. The cables do not need to be overly tight. Test the system to ensure the bed raises and lowers properly. You may need to readjust the cable during the first use with your watercraft, depending on the weight. We are now at the step of installing the ladders and guides. You will find these components in the cardbox box provided with the lift. Place them on the lift bed and determine the spacing based on the width of your pontoon's outer pontoon. The pontoon should rest centered on the ladders. Once positioned, use the U-bolt, small plates, bolts, and nuts. Tighten firmly once the correct spacing is set. Once the ladders are in place, it's time to install the guides. Place the L-shaped bracket between the ladders if your pontoon has 2 pontoons, or outside the ladders if it has 3 pontoons. Use the measuring tape to ensure equal spacing on both sides. Using U-bolts, plates, and nuts, secure the bracket in the desired position. Insert the upper bracket into the lower one without tightening it for now. Then place the vinyl guides onto the bracket. Using a measuring tape, ensure they are properly centered. Secure them with lag bolts, 4 bolts per guide. Repeat on the other side. And there you have it. Your 3,500-pound pontoon lift is now ready to be installed in the water. Have a great season.